Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Spacing Out. I'm Maureen Elsberry.
And I'm Alejandro Rojas. Thanks for joining us.
We're here to get you caught up on the news, so here are some of the space and UFO stories making headlines recently.
A man in South Lanarkshire's civil parish of Blantyre in Scotland was watching BBC coverage of the pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong when he noticed something unusual in the sky.
Vincent Smith was perplexed by what he saw on the TV, a bright object slowly moving through the sky over Hong Kong. He apparently recorded the broadcast, then recorded a video of his television as he replayed the broadcast to point out the UFO. He sent his video to the local media outlet, the Hamilton Advertiser.
The Hamilton Advertiser describes that the UFO is seen flying diagonally before landing on a building and then shooting off vertically and at speed. Although this unidentified aerial object appears to hover near that building rather than landing on it, its behavior is unusual.
When the UFO first appears on the screen, this bright object moves in a smooth, straight flight path, but its shooting off vertically is what makes this object of interest. It is rapidly becoming the norm to see aerial vehicles like drones and quadcopters above outdoor public gatherings like concerts, festivals, and protests. These remote-controlled craft are typically fitted with cameras and are used by the media and law enforcement.
The protests in Hong Kong are no exception. BBC posted a video to its website on Tuesday, September 30th, showing footage of the protesters captured by a drone.
It is plausible that this object from the BBC broadcast noted by Smith is simply a media drone. Although the UFO in Smith's video does appear to take off vertically at an incredible rate of speed, it's difficult to definitively determine directionality. The object could have conceivably have been moving towards the camera and not shooting vertically, creating the illusion of a rapid rate of speed. Additionally, some drones are capable of changing direction and altitude relatively quickly.
A witness in Riverside, California watched a bright white UFO with dark blue edges that made no sound as it moved overhead. The sighting was reported to the Mutual UFO Network.
The witness was sitting in a chair and meditating at approximately 9:30 p.m. on September 22nd when the object was first noticed as it moved through the sky.
The witness describes, "From the south direction moving east towards where I was sitting, I saw a bright white round light moving slowly. From the round bright light came dark blue edges on each side with small red lights. It was very beautiful."
The witness described the UFO, stating, "The object did not move for about 15 to 20 seconds. There was no noise. It did not fly off into the distance. It disappeared into a doorway in the sky and it was gone."
The witnesses included one illustration with the MUFON report, which was filed on September 25th. California MUFON is investigating.
Another Whitley Strieber novel is being adapted for the screen.
Syfy issued a 13-episode order for a new series titled Hunters, based on Strieber's alien crime drama novel Alien Hunter. The book chronicles the disappearance of a decorated Philadelphia cop's wife, which leads him to a secret government unit assembled to hunt a group of ruthless terrorists. "Shadowy figures that may or may not be from this world," explained Deadline Hollywood.
"We were so impressed by the pilot script from this outstanding and accomplished creative team led by Gail Ann Hurd and Natalie Chaidez," states Syfy President Dave Howe. "This fast-paced and innovative program takes viewers inside a chilling yet all too familiar world. Gail Ann Hurd is a powerhouse producer with such shows under her belt as The Walking Dead, the Terminator movies, Aliens, and The Abyss, just to name a few." Earlier this year, AMC announced that the X-Files creator Chris Carter and Hurd are both attached to a new television series in development for the network about Area 51.
Strieber, who is a self-proclaimed abductee, has seen his novels adapted for the screen several times before. The 1989 film Communion, starring Christopher Walken, was based on his book by the same name, and his book The Hunger was adapted for the 1983 film of the same name, starring David Bowie and Susan Sarandon. Syfy has Hunter slated for a 2016 premiere.
As we reported last week, the UK Ministry of Defense admitted that they will be releasing more UFO files, despite having said that they had already released all of their UFO files. This current revelation has been due to the efforts of John Burroughs, a military witness to the UK's most famous UFO sighting.
Burroughs says he has been seeking official answers as to what he might have experienced that night in December 1980 when he and others witnessed a UFO. At the time, Burroughs was a U.S. Air Force security officer stationed at RAF Bentwaters in Suffolk, which, along with nearby RAF Woodbridge, was on lease to the U.S. Air Force.
Since then, he has had health problems and suspects that his UFO experience may have contributed to his condition. He says, "I have specific medical symptoms that are considered by some very knowledgeable people to be a fingerprint of a specific kind of radiation."
It was actually a Freedom of Information Act request he made in December that prompted the MOD to release these newly found UFO documents. However, coincidentally, the MOD did not actually post that information publicly until September 16th, the day after Burroughs sent out a press release to many UK outlets alerting them to his plight.
On the MOD's weekly FOI responses site, they posted a response to a letter by Andy Russell asking for the same files Burroughs was asking for, stating that they will release them, but it will take up to 9 months to process them first. Russell, a UK citizen, says he made the request after reading about Burroughs discussing the files at a talk in Sedona, Arizona.
Burroughs also discussed another intriguing UK UFO document that regards him specifically and his medical issues. In December 2000, UK Defense Intelligence created a secret report regarding UFOs. It was titled Unidentified Aerial Phenomena in the UK Air Defense Region, Scientific and Technical Memorandum number 55/2/00. The memo was released to the public in 2006.
Burroughs points out that in Volume 2 on page F4, there is a discussion about the effects of UAP radiation on humans. UAP, or Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, is a phrase used for UFO. It states, "The well-reported Rendlesham Forest Bentwaters event is an example where it might be postulated that several observers were probably exposed to UAP radiation for longer than normal UAP sighting periods."
The document's next section also noted the effects of UAP radiation, stating an important fact is that the reported effects of presumed UAP radiation on humans is that it is quick-acting and remembered, although curiously, following the event there is little or no recall of events as a continuum. In short, the witness often reports an apparent gap or lost time, often not accounting for up to several hours.
This section of the DI memo was shocking to Burroughs. He suffers from congenital heart failure and suspects it has something to do with his years of service. Arizona Department of Veterans Services denied his claim in 2012 and told him that there was no record of him being in the Air Force in 1980. They said his military records began in 1982. He had actually joined in 1979. In fact, he had to work with Arizona Senator John McCain's office to get his records corrected.
As reported by Billy Cox of the Herald Tribune, Burroughs was told by a McCain staffer, "It took a yeoman's job to get your DD-214 corrected, but we may never be able to gain access to the missing U.S. Air Force medical records from 1979 to 1983. Another witness to the events, James Pennison, is having similar problems receiving his medical records. They believe their files have been deliberately tampered with.
Burroughs is frustrated by the whole affair and continues his effort to get the UK and US governments to release what they know about the Rendlesham Forest incident. He is also very concerned that he, as a witness and victim, has had to do all of this research on his own. In particular, he wonders why researchers such as Dr. David Clark, who helped get some of these files released and aided the UK National Archives with talking points on the UFO file releases, did not spot some of this.
Burroughs says Clark was able to pick out information on key cases such as Rendlesham, offering for the public understanding that the MOD thought the issue was settled, but did not include the part where they said observers experienced radiation and other side effects at Rendlesham.
Burroughs says he realizes the radiation is not proof that the phenomenon encountered is extraterrestrial in origin, but it suggests the possibility. "I'm not saying I know what the phenomenon was that we encountered, only that it was."
You can read more about this topic and the Rendlesham incident in the book Encounter in Rendlesham Forest, authored by Nick Pope, former MOD UFO investigator with Burroughs and Pennison.
This is getting more complicated. This has been an extremely controversial case for years. And now we have even more kind of mysterious circumstances coming about regarding the missing medical files, and it begs the question of what is happening here.
Yeah, you know, it's tough to go that conspiracy route, but this is another example where, you know, and we've had a few of them lately, where it's just those years that they had this experience that are missing from their medical records. Very strange. And then Burroughs finds that, the UK government had mentioned something about radiation effects. So it really does kind of scream of a conspiracy. And, I spoke with him, and he's really energetic. He's done a lot of research.
Right.
And it gets even more complicated. He says he's got more files and more information that he'll share with us and we'll post in the future.
It's great that he's finding so much
Right.
more out about this case, because it's got to be an extremely frustrating thing to deal with. And he's been trying to search for answers. And actually, everyone involved in the Rendlesham incident has been trying to search for answers for, holy cow, it's over 30 years.
Yeah, and he's particularly frustrated with David Clark and other researchers that he, a victim, has had to go find all this on his own. And he's wondering what Nick Pope might have known, and why Nick Pope didn't find some of this as well. I mean, they did include a little bit of this in their book, but he feels kind of like he's left on his own devices, and he's doing a great job by himself. But he's getting a lot of, tomfoolery happening from the UK. It's extremely coincidental that they told him they were going to release the files in December, but they didn't post this on their website until the day after he released a press release.
Exactly.
That's just so much weirdness.
Trying to cover up the fact that they are taking so long to get this done, or they didn't want to make a big fuss about it. I think that probably has something to do with the fact that it was that embarrassment factor of, we said we released all these files, now we've been caught red-handed. And until that they actually had to announce that publicly, they kept it hush-hush, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I agree. It's really weird, and I'm really excited because there's going to be more coming out, but I'm also talking with their lawyer next week on Open Minds UFO Radio.
Great, so people will have to tune into that. And also, Nick Pope, John Burroughs, and Jim Penniston all participated in the citizen hearing that took place in 2013. And now, for the first time, video lectures that were presented at the event are being made available to the public. Jason McClellan has the story.
The citizen hearing on disclosure took place from April 29th to May 3rd, 2013 at the National Press Club in Washington, D.C. Researchers, activists, and witnesses from around the world assembled to present testimony in front of 6 former members of the United States Congress about events and evidence indicating an extraterrestrial presence engaging the human race. The event and its more than 30 hours of testimony were recorded on video. This footage will be featured in a documentary titled Truth Embargo that is currently in production. But the team behind the citizen hearing footage just announced that all 10 of the evening lectures presented at the citizen hearing are now available as video on demand. This video on demand offering provides the first look at the citizen hearing footage. The 10-part series includes lectures by Stephen Greer, Stanton Friedman, Grant Cameron, and Richard Dolan, just to name a few. I recently spoke with Jeremy Corbell, the director of Truth Embargo and one of the principals behind the citizen hearing footage. So Jeremy, tell us about these evening lectures that took place at the citizen hearing.
Yeah, so the evening lectures were kind of unique. We had all the days of testimony, but what a lot of people didn't know is at the end of each day of testimony, a number of the contributing researchers gave these free public lectures at the time in the physical location of the National Press Club. So we have 10 lectures equaling over 10 and a half hours in total of world-class experts and researchers, giving a complete lecture about their findings and their studies and their research. So that's kind of what I guess people didn't know that was going to be available, and we wanted to give our audience, as we're developing the hearings into their final cuts, we wanted to give everybody something they could sink their teeth into. So this is, these are great lectures from 10 different individuals who are contributors at the hearings themselves.
Yeah, I am one of those individuals who didn't know that these evening lectures took place, so that's really cool, and they sound like quality content. And you and your business partner, Ruben Langdon, just announced this week that people who didn't attend the citizen hearing are now able to see these lectures, right?
Yeah, and that was the goal all along, was that we could create a really, create a benchmark for the filming and the distribution of this content to everybody. Not everybody could be at the citizen hearing. It was a powerful, and I hope will prove to be a historic moment in the world of ufology, where you have witnesses that came forward and testified under oath. But these evening lectures again, we want everybody to be able to get them. We made them super affordable. And we're basically, since we mailed out all the DVDs to our contributors of the evening lectures, we now want to make them available to the public so everybody can check them out.
And people can get to them very easily, right? It's right on the Citizen Hearing website?
Yeah, on the homepage of citizenhearing.org, there's a click-through, and it's all video on demand. You basically can, I think for $1.99, you can purchase a good hour to hour and a half lecture from any of these, as I said, world-class researchers who contributed to the hearings. They're awesome lectures. I've watched them all because, I've been doing the work on them with Ruben.
Excellent. And, the first time we had you on Spacing Out, we were talking about the Citizen Hearing with you, and all of the many, many, many hours of footage that were recorded at this amazing event. You are directing a film that is currently in production called Truth Embargo, and it follows 3 individuals, correct? And it's going to culminate at the Citizen Hearing and feature footage from the event. But that's still in production. What's going on with that film?
Yeah, so that film, Truth Embargo, is essentially looking at before and then leading up to the hearings and then the hearings themselves. Now, because we've gotten to the point where we're past the hearings, we actually have some, conclusion to it. We have some, ways to look at it from, the perspective of after it as well. That film is in production. We took the budget for that film and put it into the actual hearings themselves to make them, what they had to be. So every penny that we get from the citizen hearing footage, meaning the actual testimony and the night lectures or the evening lectures, they're all going to contribute to kind of refunding Truth Embargo. So it's really nice if people donate and help us move forward with that film. But at the same time, we're looking to fund it ourselves from the proceeds from the hearings to get it back up to its original budget. Because, for me, to have the hearings, there has to be some sort of narrative and social explanation of why people put it all on the line and come forward and testify under oath to members of Congress. And this is kind of the film that's going to show the personalities and the individuals and how hard they work at, digging up the truth for us.
Well, you've mentioned it before, but tell us again where people can go if they want to help fund this project.
Sure. It's just truthembargomovie.com. I'm pretty sure that's right. truthembargomovie.com. And right now, as I said, we're putting every cent that we make from the evening lectures and then the actual testimony of the hearings themselves, which there's been a little confusion. The editing process should land us at Christmas to release those. It's a massive project. My partner Ruben Langdon is doing the majority right now of the final editing and color correcting. So we estimate that we're going to hit that mark, really pretty easily. And because again, it's massive. It's going to be, a 20 to 25 disc set. It'll also be available on demand once we fulfill to everybody that contributed and, helped us make it happen. So yeah, that's what to look out for. What to look out for is go to citizenhearing.org. You can see the VODs, the video on demand, right now of all the evening lectures, 10 of them, which are amazing. And then truthembargomovie.com, and you'll be able to help if you want to contribute to that production and just kind of read a little bit more about it.
Excellent. And you've been a really busy guy. You've told us about so many projects that you've been working on. And just even the past couple years, you have had your hand in so many different areas in this field of ufology, having close relationships and spending a lot of time with some pretty serious researchers in the field. So I know you've got a lot on your plate. Do you have any updates for us on any of those projects?
Sure. Actually, what I'm planning to do is to release my first feature in this field. It's called Patient Number 17, Alien Scalpel Patient Number 17. We'll see where the title lands at the UFO Congress this year. So I'll be joining you. I've been asked to contribute, so I'll be giving a talk, but also I'll be releasing footage, for probably premiering that feature at your event, and also I'll be putting in a short, and my talk will probably be about what I call the invisible college, what Jacques Vallée called the invisible college, which is people within the science realms that contribute to this field, either by name or not by name, but they help move things along and help us get to the bottom of it. And that has been a lot of my experience, especially as of recent, is working people within the technology world to try to pinpoint some of these claims that people have made, such as Dr. Roger Leir, when he talks about alien implants and off-world nanotechnology. So I was able to go to NASA Ames. I was able to use time on scanning electron microscopes, and I have a nanophysicist who's been helping me. And so that's what I want to kind of present with my films coming up soon. And I should release a bunch of them at the UFO Congress, which I'm really looking forward to. I mean, I've been a guest, but now to be a contributor, it's going to be awesome.
Well, we're really looking forward to it, too. It's so exciting. We're really happy that you're going to be joining us. We're looking forward to your talk. And Jeremy, thanks so much for bringing us up to speed, and thanks for your time, bud.
Okay, thanks, man.
Like Jeremy said, the Citizen Hearing evening lectures are available at citizenhearing.org.
Remember, you can check out our video-on-demand offerings at openminds.tv. That's all for this episode of Spacing Out. Visit our website, openminds.tv, for all the latest UFO news. Also, don't forget to register for the 2015 International UFO Congress. That's the largest annual UFO conference, and it takes place February 18th through the 22nd in Fountain Hills, Arizona. And you can find out all that information at ufocongress.com.
Let us know if you enjoyed today's episode by liking the episode on YouTube and leaving us your comments in the section below. You can also download our podcast, Open Minds UFO Radio, on iTunes or at openminds.tv/radio. Thanks again for joining us today. I'm Alejandro Rojas.
And I'm Maureen Elsberry. We'll see you in the future.